position in the Bank of Montreal Sun Life Financial. With his unique combination of technical depth and strategic leadership, he brings a rich industry perspective to this program. On the behalf of MNIT and EICT Academy, I welcome you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to this discussion on the agent AI and how ethical part in the knowledge discovery comes in the context of the agent AI. Before I go further, are you guys able to hear me okay? Just want to do a quick audio check and let me know if you guys can actually even see my screen. So um, let me share my screen as well. Are you guys able to see it?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Is it on full screen? Like,
It's in the slideshow mode.
is it in the slideshow mode or no?
So not yet.
No, not yet. Okay. What happened here?
And
Oh, okay. It's not in the slideshow mode. It's still not in the slideshow mode? No?
no, sir, not yet.
1 second, let me try again. It's a problem with the.
Sir, could you please share your entire screen?
That's what I'm trying. No, I'm sharing my entire screen, but I don't know what's. Why is it not picking it up? Let's try now. Is it? No?
Right now, it's still the PowerPoint window.
Okay. I know. One second, let me try one more thing. 1 second. How about now?
Yes, this is yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So maybe we can get started here. So I think the context here is the agent AI. So I think it is very, very important for us to understand what agent AI really is. So we want to spend some time because the rest of the discussion would be around the agent AI. So I do want to make sure that the we spend some time in terms of understanding the agent AI. And then we'll get into the our topic for the discussion, which is how ethical AI for knowledge discovery work and how agent AI, the knowledge discovery is all about, the governance model around it, and some of the AI agent implementation checklist. So I do want to spend some time and deep diving into what the agent AI is. Any questions before we start in terms of the agenda and next steps? All right. So moving on, I think this is a very, very important slide for us to understand. A little double clicking on how we got to the agent AI, how it evolved. So some of these terms are a little technical, and I think it's important that we spend some time on understanding it. These basic concepts, right? And I'll do my best not to get into too technical, but at the same time, it is equally important that we understand some of the building blocks of things, right? So, large language models in prompt engineering got started maybe 2, 3 years ago. and that was the first real way how this whole AI is becoming popular today. So large language model is, these are the models that, industry, for example, you heard terms like Meta, you heard terms like Gemini and Claudia. These are all large language models, which, Google of the world, Facebook of the world, Amazon of the world, Microsoft of the world, actually the compute, the processing, the chips become cheaper, and there was a lot of data that already got available. There's a lot of data that got evolved over a period of time. So ultimately, what happened is because the cost of compute become lower, there's a lot of data that are available to process. People, these large companies actually created what we were talking about, the AI model yesterday, and then they basically trained those models, right? And they were able to create some, using a human-like language, the way we interact. They started we start creating some meaningful output to it, right? So that's what the large language models were discovered. And then the prompt engineering that you talk about, prompt engineering, nothing but basically asking the questions to the model. So for example, the you say, okay, I wanted to, I'm planning for a trip to Europe. So the better prompt, the better information that you will give, the better outcome the model will give it to you. So if you say, I have a budget of $5,000, I wanted to go to these cities, I wanted to travel by, these are my preferences. The more information that you will give, better output you will get from these models. So this is what that prompt engineering people call about it. So combination of these fairly models that were available and the people started writing the right question was very 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 foundational thing in the journey of the what we call the modern day AI is. And these models got better and better because a lot of information, and a lot of data is available for them to train. And over a period of time, these are getting better and better. New version of ChatGPT is coming, new version of Google Gemini is coming, new version of Meta is coming. And all these models like chat, you have seen is getting better with processing because more data is there. The cost of processing is getting cheaper. DeepSeek came up. There's a lot of models are available, publicly available today. But these all models are trained on public data, right? Not on the data that is very specific to an organization or to yourself. And that basically is the next point. Next point in the journey is what we call is RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. What basically it's all about is that you basically give the data in your context. So, for example, if I'm trying to summarize a document, right? Then I wanted to give my organization data to it. So I wanted to give my own context to it. So there's a model that can summarize my documents, right? But the model is trained to do that. But if I give my own organization documents to it, then I'm giving some sort of a context to it, some basic framework to it that I wanted to summarize the document using the information that I have provided. My organization is provided to it, and that is a very important thing because if you wanted to bring augment the publicly trained data. Plus, if you wanted to augment with your own data, then it'll the chances the output would be more accurate, would be more closer to your reality. So that's what probably was the item, the next step in our journey. So in my example, if you are planning a trip to Europe and you basically not only use the information that is available in the model, but if you actually give more specific information to more more specific details. If you upload your passport information to it, if you upload your your personal information to it, and if you say go AI and build my book my ticket, it can only book your ticket if it has your information available to it. So if you give your own information, then I think it'll be able to book your ticket as well. But it cannot book your ticket until unless it does not have your context to your information, right? So these two are this is the next evolution is that if you give your RAG information, if you augment your information with the information that is publicly trained data is, that was the next thing. And then the tools are available. So the next journey was around tools. So if you have an app that can do it for you, if you have tools that you can do it for you, that was the next generation things that we're seeing. Because what is happening now is that AI and all is built into everything. You have the phone you have, Pixel phone, Google phone, Apple phones. They're saying, oh, we provide AI into it. So what is happening is the tools, the apps, everything you do, you're from, if you're buying a TV tomorrow, or if you're buying a washing machine tomorrow, or if you have a computer tomorrow, they're basically integrating AI models, everything. So it's easy for a common person like you and me to use without getting into all these details as well. So a lot of tools are coming, and that is the next sort of a phase in our journey for augmentation. And then we were talking about the reasoning loop. So as we talked yesterday, I think people wanted to make sure that there's a transparency, there's a reasoning to it. We can understand why certain things are happening. And I think all the new models that are coming along, the transparency, the reasoning is part of built in. So this is also coming up. And the next thing, which is sort of is in infancy right now, is that how these agents can talk to each other, right? So like humans, we talk to each other. We have a protocol, right? When I join the call, I will say hello, I will say good morning, I'll do, just to make sure we connect. We just don't say to go, we have a protocol to work. We just don't say, I we don't go to the anybody house and say, oh, let's get to the food, right? To the protocol we follow. We have certain protocols to follow. When we get into the meetings, we have a certain protocols to follow. We wrap, we start the meeting with certain agenda. We wrap up properly. There's certain protocols to follow, and things goes in between. Now, in the modern society that we'll see tomorrow to come, agents also have one agent will be talking to another agent, right? So if your washing machine talking to your TV, or your front desk agent talking to the back office, they need to understand those protocols needs to emerge. So when agents to agents are going to talk, we're going to take a deep dive into it, some of the standards that are coming along. But the point is this multi-agent that protocols interactions will be a big part of it, and that is just starting, right? But this is how probably are some sort of a very very foundational building blocks for how the AI agent is evolving. So you will ask me what is actually AI agent is, right? AI, the best one way to understand is that AI agent is an application of AI. So, for example, time is a concept, right? Time is a concept, but watch probably is an application. We use watch to sort of apply that time concept. So that's one way to look at it, right? Um, Electricity is a concept, but electric bulb, for example, is something you apply that concept into real life. So AI agent is probably AI. We talked about what AI is and all that stuff, right? So AI agent, think about as an application of applying the AI. I'll take a pause. I say a lot. I said a lot. I also have a video that I liked. Maybe we can play it. just to take a double click on what AI agent really is. But before I go there, any questions? Because this is very, very important that we understand what AI agent is before actually we go into further discussion. All right, clear as mud. All right, so maybe there's a short 5-minute video that I just is interesting. I found out, maybe if we can play it, it just explain in a very basic way what that AI agent means, and then we can come back here. So can somebody help me to play that video, please?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Agents
Is this okay?
Yeah.
are the new apps. And we expect someday for there to be thousands of agents available. We want 1,000 agents to bloom.
So I think we're going to live in a world where there are going to be hundreds of millions and billions of different AI agents. Eventually, probably more AI agents than there are people in the world.
For the very first time, this is going to be an industry of skills. And you capture that phrase and you call it agents. But it's going to be, for the very first time, agents sitting on top of tools.
If you're here, it's probably because you've been hearing a lot about AI agents lately. Maybe you've even checked out some other videos that got way too technical, and you thought,
why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
well, guess what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the most straightforward, real-world explanation of what an AI agent is. So what is it? You probably already know that AI stands for artificial intelligence, but here's where it gets interesting. AI by itself is like raw brain power. It's got all this potential, but it's not really useful until you give it a job. Enter the AI agent. Think of AI as the genius with a million ideas, and the AI agent is the one who actually gets stuff done. While AI is all about smarts, an AI agent is the practical, hands-on version. It's like giving that genius a task and saying, okay, now go do something useful with all that brain power. The AI agent takes the intelligence of AI and turns it into action, whether it's answering your questions, automating your work, or handling your to-do list. It's the difference between knowing how to do something and actually doing it. So while AI is the brains, the AI agent is the one rolling up its sleeves and making things happen. Here is the 1, 2, 3 of AI agents. Number 1, they understand. AI agents listen to what you're asking or needing. Number 2, they think. They process this information and figure out the best way to help you. And number 3, they act. Finally, they deliver what you need, whether it's an answer, a solution, or help completing a task. Now, how do they work? Imagine your parents are heading out for the evening and leaving the babysitter in charge. Remember, you're only 5. They don't just walk out the door, they give them instructions. What time you need to go to bed, what you can have for a snack, and what to do in case of an emergency. That's exactly how AI agents are trained. Developers provide these agents with detailed instructions using data, so they know exactly how to respond in different situations. Some agents come pre-programmed with basic instructions, like a babysitter who's already experienced. Others can be customized to fit your needs, like giving the babysitter special rules for kids. Once set up, these AI agents handle tasks just as smoothly as a well-informed babysitter, freeing you up to focus on other things. So what does an AI agent actually look like? When we talk about what an AI agent looks like, it's helpful to think of it as a combination of 2 things: an interface and a workflow. The interface is how you interact with the AI agent, maybe through a chat window, a voice assistant, or even a button on a website. But behind that interface is where the real magic happens, and that's the workflow. Imagine a flowchart. You ask the AI agent a question or give it a command through the interface. That's the starting point. From there, the AI agent follows a series of steps or nodes in a workflow. These nodes could involve accessing information from a database, making a decision based on what it finds, or even performing a task like sending an email. The nodes in this workflow might change depending on what you ask or what the AI agent needs to do next, but it's all behind the scenes. So while you only see the interface, what's really happening is that the AI agent is working through a whole process to get you the best result. Now, here's a simple 4-step illustration of that process. The first is the input. You ask a question or give a command. The second is processing. The AI agent thinks about what you've asked and searches for the best way to respond. Number 3 is action. The AI agent gives you an answer, finds information, or performs a task. And 4th is learning. The more you use it, the smarter it gets, learning from past interactions to improve. So why is it important? AI agents are about to trigger a seismic shift in how we live and work, especially for local businesses and those who support them. Imagine AI handling routine tasks, freeing business owners to focus on growth and innovation. For local businesses, this could mean smarter customer service and more efficient operations, while agencies and service providers can deliver more value with less effort. This isn't just like another tech upgrade. It's likely the biggest transformation we'll see in our lifetime. Those who embrace AI agents now will have a major advantage, while those who don't risk being left behind in a rapidly changing world. In short, AI agents are set to revolutionize how work gets done, and the impact will be massive. I hope this video helped you learn the basics of AI in a way that's easy to understand. I know there's a lot of complicated stuff out there, so if you like simple explanations, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, subscribe.
Thank you. I think we can stop here. So thanks for sharing it and playing it out for me. So at the end of the day, as we were talking about, agents takes input. It basically uses LLM models and things like that for processing. It actually takes actions to it, and it's also actually learn and adopt and make significant gains. And I think in the future, as we go along, we're going to say agents everywhere. They're already there. So they're already there in a sort of a non-seeable way. So when you're basically chatting with your chat GPT, when you're using your phone, when you basically see, you take a picture I use Google phone a lot and Google, pictures and all. There are agents where you can actually change the pictures, you can remove a person, you can add a person, you can create images. Behind the scenes, there's already agents in action. In tomorrow's world, when we'll walk in, probably there would be, agent greeting you. There will be agents who will be taking care of some routine things. And maybe in future, they will be handling more complex jobs as well. So the future definitely is the application of the AI will be all agents that will be doing things. So it's important that we understand how the world is changing and how to interact with them, and that's probably drive the rest of our conversation as well. Like to make sure that
Presentation.
let me share my screen. Can you let me know if you guys can see my screen or it's still connecting? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So any questions again, one more time? Anybody has any, needs more explanation what AI agent really is? No? All right. So I think as we saw in the video, and we were just talking about it as well. This is sort of a more of a view that we to take a look at it and the agents. So agents will basically take a lot of inputs, in the form of voice data, your input, or the input from the databases and things like that. It can actually have tools to do it, and then basically AI agent has its own memory. it has its own sort of reflection to do, and then it basically execute the task for you. And it get basically on the right hand side is more simplistic view that agents are talking to agents and getting the goal accomplished. I mean, we can double click on, this is another way to look at it. There are, different agents. In this example, you can say that agent 1 is writing an email, agent 2 is basically, in our world of insurance, doing some policy extraction, is summarizing it. For agent 3 could be summarizing the call for me. So in this example, what we are showing is from our industry, in the insurance industry, I could get an email from a customer, or I could be writing an email to a customer. That could be an agent thing about an email agent that can actually read the email or write an email to the customer. Second agent could be just basically understanding my policy. It can actually take all the information from the policy. And another agent I could have is basically summarize the call or the interaction just I had. So these individual agents, we actually building these agents right now. We're looking at these agents. This is actively work that we are doing in our industry right now in the organization. So we are building these individual agents, and then we actually connect these agents to build an application. And so these are some of the examples to show that ultimately at the foundation, we're using some of these models. Like, for example, we use Google Gemini model to do all the summarization and things like that. We use Google Imagen model that helps with the pictures and all. We also use an open model called Cloudera for coding. And there are multiple other models that we actually use, public models that we use today. And then we actually bring our for example, we will bring, the way every organization, we have certain, for example, if you write an email, or you have to do a call summarization, or you have to do the policy extractions, then we have our own standards that we follow, right? We have our own templates, own standards, some checks and balances that we do. So we bring that information, that's what I was referring earlier on, which is RAG, and we add our inputs to that model, and that's how we actually create that agent. And ultimately, that agent we deploy it to our applications, to the real world situation, then people start using it. This is another way, a more simple way to show. I'm trying to show different, sort of a way to look at how the actually agents in the inside of the agent really work. So it's another way to look at it in a more simple way, that people supply inputs in terms of functions, API, databases. People at the end, people can query the data and then basically generate the outcome of it. So let's think about right now where the maturity of the agents is. So today in the current state, the way I call it, we are kind of a co-pilot, right? Not the captain. So agents in today's world are still, when I say co-pilot, I don't really mean like a Microsoft co-pilot, but I mean it's it's a helping tool in today's society, right? So at least in the industry, we have not given agent to run our business, right? So agents are working alongside with the humans, so they're not the captains. They are still think of as a junior employee working with a senior employee, right? That's one way to look at it. Or a co-op student working with a team member. So the co-op student or something, you don't let that co-op make all the decisions. We use that a junior employee or a new employee to with less experience to work with somebody, the senior experienced person. So today these agents are actually working alongside with some senior folks, with the humans, and they are really task specific. Okay, summarize an email for me, write an email for me, or do something that's very specific task, right? Or schedule something. But human in the loop is still there today. That is what sort of a current state in most of the industry right now. in the very near future, and this is a very fast changing space, right? I mean, I have myself being so close to this thing. In last 6 months, I have myself seen such a fundamental shift in how this has. I'm just talking 6 months, right? Um, the in where we started our journey of agents, probably, in fact, we were not, when we started our budget cycle last year, building agents was not even in the agenda, right? I had no money whatsoever to talk about agents. So this is a true story. Like I didn't have any money or a mandate to do it. All of a sudden, like in February timeframe, it became a priority for the organization. We set up an AI factory, right? I do not know how we finding money in mid-year is impossible in organizations, right? All of a sudden, by March, April timeframe, it was the most hottest thing that we need to do in the organization. And even it became such a high priority. And even we partner with Google, like we Google is our a partner for cloud. By April, actually, Google itself, overnight came up with very, tools, processes, and everything to make agent building so fundamental. So April was like 6 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. And all of a sudden, the amount of innovation and amount of tools and things like that has come is phenomenal, right? The amount of effort that we have to take maybe 6 months ago to build the agent versus what we take now is a day and night difference, and it's continuously evolving. Where I'm going with this is that this is such a fast-moving space that the thing that used to take years to do it, it now takes days and weeks to do it. So I do not know. I am, overwhelmed with amount of changes and innovation and investment that is happening month over month, week over week. Is really, I've never seen that in my life, right? And I'm in IT for 28 years, and this is unprecedented. It is changing faster than I've seen in my life. The journey of internet, I've seen the journey of cloud, but this is paramount. So now in the near future, when I say near future, I'm not talking about 5 years from now. I'm not talking about my humble judgment. I'm talking as even in 6 months or even in a year, we will actually see agents that can actually be more work as a junior employees, using my term analogy. So they may not be they may be able to work independently. So they are not just working as a co-pilot, but they are actually working as more of a junior employee, and they should be able to make more self-dependent decisions, learn and adapt over a period of time. But there are certain challenges, right? Certain challenges. We touched on certain challenges yesterday. Safety and alignment, for example, is a very, very important challenge that we have to uncover. Interoperability standards are another thing, because when one agent is talking to another agent, we need to make sure the standards and all are still evolving and they're not there. But how about? So I'm just talking about, because this agent, when I'm building two agents, for example, I'm building multiple agents in the organization, at least I have an oversight, we have an oversight of this agent, that agent within the organization. But it gets complicated when all my, all the teams within the organization is building the agents. So we need to make sure the standards are there. And it gets further complicated when, let's say, we are one agent of the organization is interacting with another agent for another organization. So that becomes, you as the, if you have a meeting within your own department, you probably need a different preparation and things like that. If you have an interdepartment meeting, you need different protocol, different standard, different preparation. If you're having your meeting within one engineering college to another engineering college, probably you need a different preparation. But now if you're having an international meeting, then you need another protocols to follow. Similarly, I think when agents will be talking to agents, you will absolutely, the complexity and things like that just gets exponential, right? So And those standards, those things are still in play, and there's a lot of work happening in the industry to come up with those things. And the future would be, a full-fledged agent working independently, replacing some of the humans to actually do the work as well. So that's probably the future that will be there. But this landscape is changing very, very, very fast. So these are some of the examples, and most of the examples is definitely from the insurance and finance industry I come from. So, but it is it's quite generic. So, for example, customer engagement. Think about customer engagement agent, right? Which can be, it's hard to put. It's very expensive to put 24/7 personalized support for somebody to work on. But let's say if it costs, we have to pay, it's costly to put 24/7 human facing customer engagement. But if it's an agent, then we can put an agent in front of that can do your personalized support for your policy inquiries or claim status and things like that, working 24/7. Underwriting. So in the insurance business, when you ask for insurance, we have to do an underwriting. Which basically, for the policy, that underwriting is basically understanding what you're asking for, how much risk the organization is taking. So every insurance policy that we write, there's an underwriting process. Underwriters are there; they are actuarials people. They basically underwrite your policy. So we can have an agent that can assess the underwriting. Actually, we're developing that agent in our organization as well. Claims is a big part of any insurance company. So we triaging the intake of the claim, the triaging of the claim, the documentation of the claim, making sure there's no fraud in it, and providing some real-time status is another agent that is actually think about a very popular agent that would be there as well. Distribution channels as well, right? So we basically connect with the customers using online channels, using broker channels, using emails. There's different things that we basically interact, making recommendations on those. So there could be an agent that basically helps to do that. Within the technology solutions, when we are when we basically work on a project, any project requires what we internally call like a software development life cycle, which basically means we need to understand some requirements, we need to do the design and architecture, we have to do the development, we have to do the testing, we have to deploy it, we have to monitor it, do bug fixes, and all. So this is a cycle that goes in. And what we are doing right now is we're actually building agents to capture the requirements, right? We're actually, so for example, we have an agent built in where, we can, the requirement session happens. We can, for example, this session is recorded right now. We do the recording of the sessions. We have an agent that we actually upload it to it, and it creates the requirement documents right there. Otherwise, and not only create the requirement documents, it actually assign tasks of those things to the team as well. So the process, for example, where somebody has to go take the notes, summarize the notes, verify it from the customer. Okay, as the requirements captured properly, then create sort of task, activities, project plan. All that is probably done to that agent. We're using agent to do development today. We are using agent to do testing in things. We're using agent. We're not there in deployment side, but I think we will eventually get there too. We can actually deploy the code as well. So we're building those within our technology side. We're actually building agents to actually do that work as well. So these are some of the examples where from the industry I come from, we're building agents, and that's applied to everywhere, right? Now these are some in the bottom. I think there's a lot of work that is happening. These are some of the popular frameworks or platforms, if you will, that are available in the industry. I mean, there's lots. I just picked some few examples that people are using to build the agents. LangChain, for example, is a very, very popular open source platform to build the agent. Vertex AI is a Google-specific, popular platform to build the agent. Google Agent Space. So this is the one I was just talking about. Google Agent Space actually came out in April. And Google Agent Space, is a platform where, as an individual who does not have absolutely knowledge of technology, can actually build the agents in minutes, right? And you should try it out. So try it out. There's something called Google Notebook LLM. And if you have not played with it, I would encourage you to play with it. Basically, it can create even a podcast for you. So if you can upload, a complex book, like for example, I myself is, more of, I prefer to listen to things as opposed to reading those thick books. So you can upload a book or you can upload a document and you can create a podcast of your own. Like within 10 minutes, I'll create a podcast for you. Or you can actually upload a very complex document and ask questions, Okay, for example, I uploaded my, the annual report of the organization. Who has time to read 300 pages of your annual report? But you can upload any of the annual report. You can get a podcast out of it, or you can ask questions. What was the profitability last year? Whatever it will give you. So Notebook LLM is a great example. It's part of the Google Agent Space. It's free for personal use, and it's an example where you can play with it, or you can actually create agents by yourself as well. So Google's Agent Space, Google ADK, they are the platform that is available. Google AutoChat, GPT is another platform that is available for if you're building some autonomous AI. And there's also Crew AI, which is also an emerging platform you can use. So these are some of the platforms that are available to build agents as well. I saw a question or something. So I think maybe it's your question, right? From you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think we'll touch on it. So absolutely, I think I definitely wanted to talk more. I just wanted to set the stage for the AI models, like what the agent. But you're absolutely bang on. As things become more autonomous, and this is absolutely a very fundamental thing. The ethnicity, the sort of a governance and all becomes paramount, because now, as you remove human in the loop, it becomes much more complicated, right? Because what happens if it's in autonomous mode, you do not know how things are happening. I'll touch on it, but to answer your question here, for example, when we have when we're deploying agents and within our organization and everywhere, what we call is AI observability. So AI observability is something that we wanted to champion. We wanted to make sure that people basically follow through. So AI, what does AI observability does is what the concept of what is AI observability. So what it does is, let's say when we deploy the agent, we wanted to make sure it has certain expected behavior. So for example, if I have built an agent for underwriting, I'll just take underwriting as an example, right? So if that agent is responsible for writing an underwriting policy, we wanted to make sure that we constantly, for each policy that we are writing, we have checks and balances. So okay, it writes a policy, then we is it within the threshold or not? Is it has basically these checks or not, things like that, right? Whatever those checks and balances are, we basically, every transaction that happens, we want to make sure that AI observability is part and parcel of it. And there's automatically monitoring for it also happening. So as things become, and if there's any shift in that thing is happening, we want to make sure the proper alerts and everything is in place. And this is something new, because what happens is people get excited about building the agent. I mean, as a technologist, I'm actually more excited about building the agent, adopting the technology, and deploying it. Making exciting, making wow for the business and all. And sometime, that who cares about the AI observability and things like that? People don't think about it until an incident happened, and then oh my God, what has happened? So, but I think it's definitely important that we think about, to your point, this concept about the governance of AI agent, the observability that in mind is absolutely critical. And we'll talk more about it as we go.
Thanks.
Does it answer your question?
Yes, yes, it does.
So these are some, I mean, you can look it up. This is, I mean, a website I sometimes use. It's a list of all the, top, all the agents that are available. Check out this AI agent directory. It lists all the agents that are available. On the right hand side, I think I touched it already, but these are some of the open source AI agent framework that is available for everybody to use. A lot of investments are happening from OpenAI, from Google and Microsoft of the world. And I think these companies are also partnering with each other. So, for example, if any innovation, any new model comes from Google or from Microsoft or Meta or these large organizations, Hugging Face, I mean, they all are contributing to the open source as well. So there's a lot of innovation and investment that are happening. So these are, as I said, like, for example, there's a lot of standards to be worked on, right? So one of the common example I use is today, I think we all use cell phones and all, right? So if you have an Apple phone, you have to take a different charger. If I have one of the family members is a Pixel phone or an Android phone, I have to take a different charger. If I have a smartwatch, I have to take a different charger. It's, now the industry is saying, and Europe has already implemented it, that you need to have a universal charger. And that's where I think you're going. So there's USB point ports, USB 2 or whatever that is called, is now a standard for chargers. So even Apple, you have to use that USB charger now, right? So that is a standard that has come in the industry. No matter what phone you carry, you need to have a universal charger or port. So similarly, I think about it. If we have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of agents built across, and everybody is coming, Google have their own standard, Microsoft comes with their own standard. If I'm using a custom agent, if I have my own standards to follow, it becomes difficult to navigate, right? And so these are some examples here where we need to come up with the basic standards first to build these agents. So there's a concept of agent-to-agent protocol, which I talked about earlier. If I'm building my agent, organization B is building the agent, Google is building the agent, we need to make sure we have a common protocol to connect and talk to. Otherwise, how would I trust, right? If I would not trust an agent coming from North Korea or somewhere, countries that we don't trust, and everybody started using their agent, and guess what, that it would be a problem if there are standards not in place, right? So and these are behind the scenes engine, but these are very important concept. Those standards has to be in place. There has to be certain things, these checks and balances at the technical level needs to happen. And then model context protocol is very important. And maybe I'll touch on the model context a little bit, because context is very, very important. And I think this is a very evolving thing. So what happens, where I'm going with the context is, remember when I'm saying it is very, if I'm having, let's say, a food, right? Then I will say, oh, it's very hot. Then you'll automatically, you automatically understand that I'm talking in the context that food is very hot, right? But the computer or the agent will, until the context is not there, it'll not understand whether the food is hot or a person is hot or something else is hot or the weather is hot. Until the context is not there, it'll not understand, right? So a weather app will not understand. It has to understand in the context of hot means the temperature is hot, right? In the food app has to understand that the hot means, hot has a different meaning in the food too. Is the temperature hot or is Indian spices hot, right? What is the context of hot really means in my example? So think about when one agent is talking to another agent, and in my example, if they don't know what hot means and they don't have that, then they basically can actually cause a disaster as opposed to doing things. And so that context thing is evolving. How do I define when two agents are talking to each other? How do I define that context? What is the context protocol? And these are just some examples I'm using. There's a lot of things that needs to evolve. How do we basically have security behind the scenes when we're talking to it? So there's a lot of work to be done there, and a lot of work is happening at a phenomenal pace. But today, these two people have come to an agreement about agent-to-agent protocol. People have come up about with MCP protocol. So those things, and these things, what I'm just talking about is bread, it's hot off the press. So these things and standards have just evolved in last, I would probably say, give or take 6 to 12 months. But these are just examples. There's a lot of things still have to be evolved as we go on in terms of standardizing it. I'll probably not go here, but these are some of the things that, you talk about, as I was talking about the observability, right? We touched on the observability. So we had to, make sure that this is proper trace, this is proper logging. These are some of the, the agent framework that we just talked about. So these are all some of the building blocks. Then maybe I'll double clicking a little bit what goes actually in building the agent. So probably not spend too much time because otherwise it'll get too deep and too technical. But this is another example of the Google agent ecosystem. So behind the scene, when I said go and try some open framework to build the agent, behind the scene, this is the complexity that is dealing with to build the agent for you. But there are tools now available where it's very easy to build, some of the common agents. But if you have to build a custom agent, which is very specific to you, you actually need to take a deep dive and start using some of these tools and technology. So just switching gears now in terms of what are some of the guiding principles at a very high level that we need to use when we're building the agent. So security. I mean, you need to make sure that security is a paramount when we build the agent. So security, when I say security, I don't only just mean security that somebody may hack, because naturally security, we think about somebody hacked my agent, or my agent is vulnerable to some malfunction and things like that. Those are very, very important. Or security could mean that, it started misbehaving it, or somebody intervene with my thing. That's one angle. But security also means that the agent should respect roles and permissions, right? If for example, if I should not have access to the HR agent, right? Think about it, right? If I have access to the HR agent, I can actually find out everybody's salary, or even I can go ahead and change anybody's salary, right? So I if I don't have the, if I'm not part of the HR team and I'm not responsible for it, I should not have access to that agent, right? So roles and permissions and things like that also play, a big part of it. The data has to be encrypted. All that is big part and parcel of this as we build the agents. The other thing, what we call is a FinOps. So FinOps is financial operations. As we go into this technology, we need to make sure people think about the cost of running the agent as well, because these, at the end of the day, if I'm running the agent for no reason, if my agent is running 24/7 and there's nobody actually using that agent for 24/7, there's a cost to run that agent too. So when we build the agent, what we're using these, what and how much should we run the agent for? What model I'm using? Right? For example, it's not the best. The best Google model is always the right model because the best may be more expensive, and I may not be using it. So what model I use, how I query my data, all those things are equally important as we build the agent. So the cost of building the agent, the cost of running the agent is very, very equally important. And I think we touched on operations as well. We need to make sure that as the agents are running, they have a proper resilience. There should be compliance. Resilience should mean, what if the agent stop working? If it malfunctions, what if we need to make sure that operations continues, or at least they're informed, right? If agents start working and if I don't know about it, what happens, right? So, and they ensure consistency, in that we want to make sure if I have an agent who is dealing with my customer, it has to be consistent, right? It should be available. It should not happen on on a sort of a New Year or Thanksgiving or a Christmas. The agent is not performing because all of a sudden there's a more rush, or an event happen, like an unplanned event happen, and are not able to deal with the traffic and are not able to deal with the responses, then I think all those things, operational challenges and things like that, has to be factored in. Because we plan as a human, we plan there. We know that on Diwali time we have extra people coming in for shopping and all. You plan for it. You plan for more resources at that time in your shop and your things like that. There's more due diligence, traffic plans for that happens, right? Similarly, when we leave it to the agent, to the technology to run it, all those things for resiliency and all those operation considerations has to be there, right? To plan for it. So these are some at a very high level, some of the things that we do need to plan for it. So double clicking on some of the best practices in building the agent is, and I'll go one by one here, is you need to make sure that your definition, your goal is very clear for agent. It's not that you start, we have to do, you start bringing everything into a single agent, right? I'm bringing an agent who can take my underwriting, who can do my customer support, who can do this. When people when people ask for it, they'll ask for everything, right? So, but the thing is, you need to make sure that you build the agent. For example, in the industry you guys work in, you need to make sure that you build an agent that can be in sort of writing a question paper, right, or an exam paper, or you have an agent who actually do marking, but it's a separate thing. You need to have a separate agent for building your question paper, if some separate agent for examining the exam, right? So instead of a teacher examining, you can have an agent doing it. But these are very different tasks and goals. So we need to make sure that we can, when we're building the agents, the goal is very specific and defined, and we do it. And that's basically the second point as well. It has to be very modular and easy to scale. So you need to make, and it should be reusable, right? You should not build an agent that can only do economics exam, or you should not build an agent that is just for chemistry or something. When you're building the agent, think at a high level. Okay, I'm writing an agent to write question paper, right? Now you're not building an agent just to write a chemistry paper or a biology paper. You need to build an agent that can actually be is more generic, and then you can actually become more specific later on. But that is very important. So it's more scalable, it's more reusable, right? Anything has to be reusable. So in my example, when I'm writing an underwriting agent, I'm not writing an underwriting agent that can only do for personal line. It should be able to do for commercial line as well. It should be able to do it for auto. It should be able to do for homes. So it has to be a little bit modular, and it has to be more scalable. You should be able to debug as well. Another thing, it has to have a feedback loop as well. So any agent that you build, it should learn from its own thing. It should basically, that should have a mechanism, a feedback loop, right? So think about agents like humans as well, right? So when a new employee comes in, or you do things, we have a feedback mechanism, right? It's a better way to do things here. So that feedback mechanism has to be, learning mechanism has to be part of your building the agent as well. I think we're talking about governance and security all the time. It's just that because now agents are doing things, we need to make sure we protect people's information. The data is protected. We should be very sensitive on what data is being trained, what data the agent can access to, and it should. We talked extensively yesterday around the regulatory standard as well. We need to make sure that it's just not that agents are doing the work and not following the standards or regulations that are in place, right? We briefly touched on observability and FinOps as well. So that the agent has to be have the observability and the observability, the question that Nidhi has before. These are very important, and of course, it has to be financially viable as well. Fail-safe design. This is absolutely paramount. So what I mean by fail-safe design is that what happens if the agent stops working? What happens? What happens if the employee doesn't show up? Right? You have. It's not that employee doesn't show up and you say, oh, we can't do. I can't write policy for you today, or I can't process your claim today because 5 people in my organization are sick. No, that's not the way the businesses or the enterprise or organizations work, right? You need to make sure there are backup plans in place, there are protocols in place, business continuity plans is in place. So the agent doesn't work. I think we should know when the agent stops working, and what happens that if agents stop working, what is your backup agent or whatever those processes are in place. We need to make sure that they are there, right? Interoperability. I think we need to make sure that things evolve, right? I mean, today there's one technology, tomorrow there's another technology, tomorrow there's a different protocol, different standards. Today I use Gemini model, tomorrow I model. Within the models also, by the way, just this is something we also learned as we go. Models also have an expiration. So, for example, I was using Gemini 2.0, and now all of a sudden Google said that 2 months from now we'll stop supporting Google Gemini 2.0, and we never thought about it that these models also expired. And guess what? Now we need to build a process that we need to use the new model Gemini 2.5. So it's very easy said than done. Organizationally, we were using Gemini 2.0 everywhere, and we didn't thought about now we have to use Gemini 2.5 all of a sudden. Then we didn't plan for it because this is the first time it happened to us. And now all the applications that we have, we in fact know what applications we've applied 2.0. So we need to. And the good news is, because this is so new, it's not that our footprint overnight was so big, but we needed to go and understand what applications are using it. We need to do back all the tests to make sure that the application doesn't fail. And the new models that we're bringing 2.0 to 2.5, we need to make sure the results are not changing. So all those things, the models and all those expire. So interoperability to make sure that they can work across, the backward compatibility is there, all the technology changing, these things are there. Ethical guardrails are, of course, I think we've been talking all along, the transparency, same thing we talked about yesterday, the basic things we talked about, that the AI agent should be transferable, it should be able to, have fairness, all this framework that we talked about is absolutely important. Evaluation and testing is important, so we need to make sure that the performance and all are factored in. Multi-agent, I think this is something, as we talked earlier, that we will be building, in our example, separate agents. For example, agent for underwriting, and agent for pricing, agent for customer service, agent for technology. At the end of the day, these agents needs to work with each other as well. And as I said, we need to keep, when we're designing the agent, we need to keep this multi-agent architecture in mind. We're just not thinking about an agent that is just functioning by itself, but how this agent will work and interact with each other as well. It's no different than human things, right? We can interact within a team easily. It becomes more complicated when we have to interact within interdepartment. It gets more complicated when we have to interact with different colleges or different universities, different cultures. Same complexity comes as with the technology as well, and when in the agent world too. So those things will be there. We need to make sure, in an example, this is another thing. So a lesson learned, we didn't actually had a centralized catalog being created as we started our journey, to make sure that all the agents, at least we need to know if everybody in the organization, it's not like we wanted to make sure that one person is building the agent. We wanted to make sure everybody should be able to build the agent with certain standards. We need to make sure at least we know all the agents that exist in the organization. So centralized repository is important. And DevOps, I think, is a technical word, but I think we need to make sure that how we deploy the agents are also, there are certain standards to it. It's not that everybody deploys the agents in their own way. There has to be standards across the organization how you deploy the agents. So, I mean, this is again very, very new to us, to the industry. Certain organizations who are in technology, for example, LinkedIn, Spotify, YouTube, Google, of course, they make money from technology, so they may be far ahead in their journey a little bit. But most of the places in the industry and other things, these are very evolving things. These are some of the, I mean, there's a lot of work still to be done, but these are some of the best practices I'm sharing based on our experiences and where we are in the journey. But this is a constant discussion we are also having as we're building the standards and best practices. Oh wow, MLOps, 100%. I was shying away from using some of these, but yes, absolutely. MLOps is absolutely, when I say DevOps, I do mean MLOps. So MLOps is a part and parcel of deploying and monitoring. And the good news is the Vertex AI, for example, I just shared before. All these platforms actually have built-in MLOps and DevOps capability there. Yes, 100%. We within the industry we use. So to those who do not know MLOps, I think what is machine learning, thing. So, but yeah, this is definitely part of it. This is another thing, and I touched briefly on it, but I do wanted to take some time to make sure that we get this understood very clearly. Right now, I think I do not know, to the best of my knowledge, where in the industry the people are making agents interaction full-fledged without human in the loop is available for external facing. So what I mean by is I think a lot of organizations, including us, we started using agents for internal workload, internal interactions, things, right? Which is sort of kind of hidden to the end customer yet. So we still have a human in the loop or human that is interacting or responsible for facing the things, right? Because nobody wants to be a headline that somebody had a bad experience with the customer, or a bad decision being made, or a bad, something, agent, disperse an unplanned amount of money, or whatever the case may be. So I don't think that because of the maturity of the agent journey, AI in general, I don't think people are actually have deployed agents more customer facing. But what we started talking about is that it's probably a matter of time then, where we will be start deploying agents for certain things. Although I would say there are places where we are using a combination of agents that have been deployed. So in our industry, at least in our organization, what we have is what we call context center AI. So what basically it does is when you make a call or an email to us, we use AI or an agent to authenticate you, right? So we'll ask some basic question who you are, or we can use your voice to recognize it, blah blah blah, and we quickly pass it to the agent without further asking for authentication. But we may just ask one small question still, and then your whole interaction when you're interacting with the agent, where the agent is with the human, the agent is actually listening to your call behind the scene. It can actually summarize your call, and it can even email it to you what we have done. So we are using in that context, which is customer facing, but still human is sort of in the loop. So for those things we are using, but we're not using agent to write your policy or to process your claim and things like that. But where I'm going with this is what I want to talk about here is what we're thinking about is that tomorrow, in X amount of months or years, when we basically are ready for like agent to take over some of the interactions to the external world, what are some of the considerations that we need to think about it? So one thing is we want to make sure that the customer experience should not change. Whatever experience is and customer experience is absolutely paramount to any organization. You want to make sure that the customer is treated, has the same experience. So the experience, one of the criteria that we are thinking about is the customer experience should not change. And the second criteria is we need to make sure the current benchmark that we have against human interacting, that benchmark should only get better, not lower than that. We also want to make sure that when we actually deploy the agent, it should be done in pilot. It should not happen that you deploy to the entire world. You may want to start with a city, a small thing, and you want to do a pilot, you want to learn from it, and then do it. And I think we need to make sure that we have real-time evaluation done how the agent is behaving. And we still, as an organization, we don't feel that you don't need a human oversight. Human oversight, we still want to make sure that is in place. We want to make sure that we have processes documented, tested, that in case the agent doesn't work, what is the fail-safe mechanism is. We want to make sure that in the agent that decisions are being made, we need to make sure that we have a traceability to explain and understand how the decisions were made. And I think we also wanted to make sure that the customers are aware of that, this interaction is, to the agent. and we are prepared for whatever, what are the implications, legal implications, and means for it, and to prepare for those legal aspect of it as well. So these are some of the considerations that we have as we actually, in future, we plan to go more of an external facing AI things. Right? This basically, quickly, I know I'm running out of time very quickly here, but I think this is some of the criteria that we're thinking about it, because we, as I said, there's a lot of work happening in the industry. Then where should we really build the agent ourselves, or where should we buy the agent, right? So some of the things that, if it is sort of a core thing for us, then I think, and it's a competitive advantage or it's a secret sauce for us, then probably it's better to build the agent than to buy the agent. But if it is something routine, for example, why would I build an agent to schedule something? Because scheduling is not a secret sauce, right? It could be for some organization, but it may or may not be a secret sauce. It may be a secret sauce for Amazon, or not for Amazon, for FedEx or for UPS, because your business is all about scheduling, I guess, right? But for us, probably scheduling is not the secret sauce. It's most how we underwrite a policy, how the pricing is done. That's the secret sauce for us. So I would not buy an agent which is, to underwrite or to do the pricing. But, if it's a routine thing, why would I build? I would rather buy it. Time to market, right? This is another thing, because if I'm building something, it'll take more. If I have, if I want a full control on the logic, the understanding of it, probably I will build the custom agent rather than buy it, right? If I have, if I'm concerned about some sensitivity of the data and security, probably I will basically build the agent versus buying it. Cost and return on investment, of course, it's no brainer. It's probably a common sense, and it's just not specific to agent, but that's another thing. Also, I think technical capabilities, right? So, does the organization have the right skill, the right talent to build the agent, or we basically, if we have it, then we'll build it. If not, then probably we go. And sometimes integration complexity is another criteria, and potential for innovation, this is another one, right? So if building the agent help me innovate better, then probably I will build rather versus buying. So I mean, these are some of the criterias I think in mind that we keep, whether we build the agents in future or we buy the agents. This slide, I think the same slide we talked yesterday, and I was just thinking about it. Fundamentally, I think the framework of the trust on the agent doesn't change, because now it's AI agents. AI agent is, as we took time to understand, AI agent is an application of the AI. So the fundamental of the just because it's an application, we're using AI to build the AI agent. The fundamentals of the trust and all the framework that we talked about doesn't change. The same thing applies here as well. I do not know. Do we? I think probably we're kind of out of time, but maybe what you want to do? Do you want to do this exercise, or probably we can do it as a use case? I think we.
Can we break for 10-15 minute break now, sir? And then resume back right from here?
Yeah, I think we can do. So probably I'll skip this for today. I'll probably skip. We'll talk about the. Maybe we will cover when we talk about the use case, and we can bring it up here, right? So what I can do is probably let's wrap it up here, and at least this section. So some of the key takeaway is what I think is the ethical alignment of human collaboration are not optional. So as we go in this building the AI agent, we still need to make sure that the AI, the collaboration of the human still remains. AI agent is absolutely a very emerging and new paradigm. And I think as we talked lot. The industry is still working on a lot of technical and ethical frameworks. We still have a lot of work to do here in terms of coming with those standards. And ethical alignment is not optional, right? So this is definitely, we need to make sure that the alignment of governance, the alignment of the things that we talked about, whether it's security, whether it's governance, all those are absolutely important. And again and again, the key, if one thing you have to take it away, is basically the human collaboration with the technology will always get the result. So the answer is not that the AI agent can work on their own. And if anybody is dreaming about that the AI agent can work on their own, probably is a recipe for failure. That an AI agent that is working in collaboration for the humans probably is a recipe for success. All right, I think we probably towards the end of the presentation, and maybe we can take well-deserved. I mean, I'm ready to take on any question, but we can take a break and then resume.
Great. Online participants, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat box, or you're also free to come on audio or video as per your convenience. And so we'll be breaking here offline. We'll be just breaking for 15 minutes and then we'll be back. We'll resume with the case study.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.